Welcome back. Having a child can be a magical experience, but with it comes some challenging responsibilities, including making plans for their care in case something terrible happens to you. Joining us this afternoon to help with this process is our legal expert, Danielle Mayoras. Thank you so much for being here. You know it's going to be a good topic when we spend the entire commercial break talking about it beforehand. I feel like so many parents can relate to this. It's something you may casually talk about over dinner, but so many of us forget to put it in writing, to do the formalities. So tell me why it's important to make a decision and follow through with this.
You can always change it later, okay? So it's better to make a decision and know that you can change it later than to do nothing. Because if you do nothing, then a judge may make this decision, and this is one of the most important decisions parents can make. Who's going to care for their children if they're not around?
And how tumultuous have you seen this get if, that hasn't been documented, that's not in place? Do you have family members fighting over, I think she would have wanted it to be me, or he, of course, would have chosen me? That can put a lot of stress on the family.
The family and the child, and it does happen because, usually there's two parents. If something happens to both of them, that's when it goes to court. And different families have different perspectives, and that can lead to a lot of fighting, which we want to avoid because we want to make sure your wishes are followed as the parent, but we also don't want to put the kid through that.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some things you want to consider as you're making this decision. Values, maybe taking religion into account. What is the checklist you want to have in your mind as you pick this guardian?
You brought up value and religion. I think that's really important because all of us as parents have different goals for our children. It could be volunteering, involvement in church or synagogue, work ethic, and really thinking about those values and who could carry those on raising your child. And one of the things I recommend for clients is actually putting a letter in writing by computer or by pen, and really sharing with the guardian what you want for your child, what those values are, and all those things we know as parents that no one else knows, doctors, any allergies the child has. Share that all in writing with the guardian so they can follow your wishes.
Danielle, we have some pointers on the screen here. I noticed one you shared with us. It just said, it was a bullet point, pick different people. What do you mean by that?
It's so important to really choose the best person for each role. And so the guardian is the one who cares for the child, but then we also have someone managing the money for the child, which normally is the trustee. And a lot of clients think you have to pick the same person for both, but you don't. I always say pick the best person for each role. Sometimes it's the same person serving both roles, but if someone's better at finances and someone's better taking care of the kids, don't feel pressure to name the same person. And sometimes it's beneficial not to, because then you have checks and balances and more than one person looking after your child.
I so appreciate you saying that because I don't think people even think about different expertises and what would work for the family. Really quickly, how do you go about talking to that potential guardian? It's a heavy conversation.
It is a heavy conversation, but it's important because what if you pick a guardian and they say thanks but no thanks? It's an important conversation to have. So I would say just rip the Band-Aid off, sit down, tell them that they mean so much to you that you're considering naming them as guardian, but make sure they're up to the task and don't sugarcoat it because you want to make sure now as opposed to later they can actually follow your wishes.
All right, Danielle Mayoras, thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rochelle.